this session started. So I will just start by sharing my screen. Let's pray to all the technology gods and goddesses that today will work well for us.
It will, however the technology works or not.
Okay, fantastic. Well, welcome to this session. This is a very exciting session of Let's Connect in partnership with Natacha from Les Sans Penche. I don't know if I've said that right, but she will correct me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica Stevenson. I am co-hosting this session with Natacha and with Beverly, who will introduce herself. And I work with community resources and within the Wikimedia Foundation, and we're part of a group that with community members, some of them are on this call, are leading Let's Connect, which is a peer learning program where we're here to share our knowledge between peers, between colleagues in a way that is safe, it's fun, it's engaging, it's relaxing. I always get very nervous when I hold these sessions. So I'll start off by just like shaking my hands and invite everybody to shake your hands too. So we all feel like relaxed and it's Friday and we're here to just share important things to us. And this is a very intimate session because, let me just make sure I am recording this in English. Just one second.
Then we can shake our hand and take a little
Shake
dance.
your hands even more, exactly. Okay, it seems that.
Oh, we can breathe. Ah, that's nice.
Interesting.
Oh, we can't hear you anymore, Jessica. You are muted.
Thank you. So I forgot to say two really important things in the beginning. We will be recording parts of the session so that we can have this as a resource afterwards to go back to share with some people that really wanted to be here but couldn't participate because we wanted a smaller group. So if that is okay with everybody, we'll record. We can stop recording at any point, and we will do when we're having some of the discussions and the group discussions so that we have a more private space. But the main presentations we will be recording, if that is okay. We also have language interpretation, so you can click the button for French, Spanish, Portuguese. We're sorry if there are other languages you need, and please let us know so in future sessions we have more options. And we hope the translation is working for everybody. And we just remind anybody who speaks to speak slowly to give our interpreters the chance to interpret us in a calm way. So this is a really interesting session for us. We all know that burnout is an issue that affects our volunteer community, staff members, team members within the movement. And we think it's really important to talk about ways in which we can identify burnout in ourselves and in others and people who we would like to be able to support and to develop some more awareness and skills of how we can do this. So this is what our learning session today is about. It's to become more aware of some of the tools and the skills that we might need to be able to identify burnout in ourselves and in others, and how we can start learning more about them. Today, we're not going to learn everything that's needed, but we will be able to be introduced to this topic and to more resources to share with our communities. The agenda for today, it's packed with great activities. So we're going to start with a quick warm-up, a check-in to see how people are feeling. And then we're going to go on to listen to Natacha. She will speak more about her experience, but she's a very experienced Wikimedian. And she's going to walk us through some of the things that she's learned about this important topic and her own experiences. And then we're going to look at a case story, and we're going to reflect on a real a fictitious case of burnout. And we're going to work around that. And then we're going to go into breakout rooms and really try to practice some listening skills. So because this is quite an interactive session, some recommendations is that you try to stay to the whole session so you get the full learning experience. We know connectivity can be an issue, but try to be in a space where you can guarantee the best participation. And please try to stay to the end so you can do all of this in a group, okay? And over now to you, Beverly, so we can get this going.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Jessica. And hi, everyone. I'm Beverly, and I am located in, it's hard to see, but gray Berlin. And I am part of the community development team at the Wikimedia Foundation, and I'm here co-hosting this session with Jessica and Natasha. So what we thought would be fun to do is start with a check-in question, just to help us get used to being in the Jamboard again, and also start diving into this topic of burnout. So I believe a link will be pasted. Yes, so Jessica has pasted a link to this Jamboard. And I'd like to invite everyone here to just jump into the board and answer this question. What is one thing you do that helps you de-stress? And you can add a post-it with a emoji. So I've linked here this emoji site for you. You can also add a word, whatever you'd like to do. Great. Seeing some great things showing up on the board. Some emojis are coming. Okay, so how about we have a few people share what they've written or what they've put as an emoji. And when you speak, if you can just say your name, say where you're calling from, and then say what's on your post-it. And then after that, call on someone else. So if you see another post-it that seems interesting to you that you want to learn more about, call on that, and then we'll have another person go on, and we'll just do a few of these. So who'd like to share first?
I can go.
Great, Anna. Thanks.
Well, I couldn't put my contribution in the Jamboard. I wrote it on the chat box. But what really helps me de-stress is to work on my vegetable garden and also to cook. And I relate with also staring at my cats or petting my cats. So I invite someone who put that to speak after me.
I will definitely later.
Hi everyone. I am Anthony from the Philippines. I am the one who put the just staring at my cat because usually it relaxes me. My cat doesn't have anything to do besides sleeping and eating and sometimes playing. So I would choose someone who every 10 um, walk in the woods.
I think I put that. So because I'll be speaking a lot, 30 minutes, maybe I can answer that later, or but like green and woods are connection to our past selves, our nature, and forest brings your cardiac rhythm down and calms you, the color, the leaves and everything. So I find that really relaxing.
Do you want to pass it to someone, Natasha?
Yeah, okay. Let me see. I was do the dishes one, because that's something I definitely wouldn't do to relax. So I'm quite intrigued.
That was me. Hi everyone. So yeah, when I am feeling stressed, I do the dishes. But this is not something that it's not my first activity to relax. It's just like when I need to do it and I'm feeling stressed. And also it's an opportunity for me to listen to a podcast or like watch something on my phone as well that I'd like to watch or I would like to watch. And so, and also like, I think for me, it's about the process of cleaning something that makes me feel calmer afterwards. Like I have accomplished something and that thing is clean and it's, you know, it's clean and it's, you know, I don't need to do anything more related to that. It's done basically. And I will, let's see. The one who said cook and eat healthy.
Hi, it was me. So when I'm feeling stressed, I really like to cook and pay attention to every process involved in it. And I really like to cook health food so I can feel well nurtured. And especially I like to cook for myself and for people that I love. So I find this very relaxing experience from start to end. I see that we have a lot of yoga here, so I would love to hear someone talk about it.
Hey, hi. I think I was one of the people that put yoga down. I'm Jyotsna here, joining you all from India. Yeah, so yoga for me, even just a quick 10 to 15 minute deep stretch is a really effective way to regulate my nervous system and just sort of breathe. It's for me, yoga is synonymous with breath work. And so, yeah, it's really a great one when I've been sitting on my bum for a long period of time. And yeah, I would like to hear if we still have time for one more on feminist science fiction.
Oh, that was me again. I just put that one up. I love reading feminist science fiction because it characterizes very strong women and also queer feminist science fiction, because it leads me to a sense of empowerment. I feel reinforced and having more energy after reading that. It opens up the future. And my best writer is Cameron Hurley, like The Light Brigade or all the stories about Nyx. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Well, actually, it's the perfect way to end because we're actually going to now move on to hearing a bit more from Natacha about her experiences with burnout, as well as other helpful strategies that she has to identifying, supporting others, supporting oneself in burnout. So how about I'll just leave it here and let you take it away.
Yeah. So do I need to share my screen, or will you?
I can share for you, Natacha. So
okay, fine.
whilst you introduce yourself, I'll organize that.
Okay, so I'm Natacha Rault. I am 52 years old. I live in Geneva, but I'm not Swiss, I'm French. That's important. Actually, I'm half French, half British. That's why I don't speak to you like that today. So people say about me that when I speak English and French, it's like day and night. I'm probably much more rude in French, but also more gifted in French. So if I make mistakes, sorry for today. And why am I speaking about burnout today with you? It's because I spoke to Marty Johnson about my experience, and she said, oh, well, I'll hand you over to the Let's Connect team, because it would be nice to have you speak about your experience. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not an academy nor an expert in these questions, but I speak from the experience about someone who has experienced a very severe form of burnout. And also, I am the founder of Les 100 Pages, which is a Francophone Wikipedian project, which is aiming at reducing the gender gap on the Francophone Wikipedia. So we're going to speak about understanding key concepts around identifying burnout and supporting us, others, and our communities. And we can move to the next slide. This will be the plan for my talk. Just a second, because I need to just put on my chronometer so that I don't speak too much, because that's one of my big defaults. So first of all, we're going to see what is burnout. So in the meantime, maybe you can all try to put in the chat your own definition of burnout, and then we can see if something interesting pops up. How do we recognize burnout and what we can do about it for ourselves, for others? And then we'll end up with the Good Friend Guide, small perspectives on what we could do in our movement to start tackling the question of burnout. Next slide. Sorry, if you can move to the next slide. So what is burnout? First of all, the burnout question first came historically in the context of the working place. So there are academic definitions, even World Health Organization definition. I put a link to that down the slide, which has to do about workload. But there are several other cases of burnouts that have been identified in activist communities, in volunteer communities, women experiencing births, several births, and mental charge and family responsibilities. And a lot of other cases are now brought up to the front. So first of all, we're speaking about two aspects. First of all, it's a burnout of the brain and the emotion, like a deep emotional and physical exhaustion. Exhaustion is just a word that is correct for it, except that it's an exhaustion that lasts. It doesn't go away if you take a rest. It's there and it's settled for a long time, and it goes on the physical side. It's complete depletion of energy to do things, to accomplish work, to walk, even to cook something, and also emotional exhaustion, which can be associated to a kind of numbness, feeling in cotton, or not feeling anything, or sometimes even loss of identity, not knowing who you are anymore, really, what you are doing there, or your purpose. So emptiness, lack of energy, disinvestment, and it's usually triggered by chronic overwork. Now, by overwork, we have to take the global picture in our movement, that is volunteer work, family work, work for you, work you do. Work is not only professional work, like you have to take into account the whole picture. And this overloading takes place over a long period of time, and the person is not able to adapt oneself to the demands that are being issued to them, and to put limits and to rebalance their activities and balance between their engagement and recuperational leisure time. That's it. Next slide. And I'm going to talk about me, because if I'm here today, it's because I had a severe burnout. It culminated in year 2021. It started just before pandemic, actually in summer 2019, that I had the first signs. And this is what my balcony looked before I actually started to contribute to Wikipedia. And before my burnout, Wikipedia was not the thing that triggered the burnout, but it was one of the many aspects of my engagement. I was working 80% time. I founded Les 100 Pages. I have 3 children. Then my mum had cancer and she eventually died in 2021. During pandemia, my whole family was psychologically and physically affected, with people going to hospital under different conditions. And that was really stressful. And then I lost my dog, an important being in my life. And then I was myself completely burnt out after a disastrous relationship too, that finished during my burnout. And that left me completely emotionally overwhelmed by the tragedy, but because I had denied the other aspects of the tragedy. And after burnout, if we can, this is what my balcony looked like. Like I was dumping everything on my balcony. I thought putting an image can be helpful, also because maybe there are other people speaking different language. And like you can see that I used to dump everything on my balcony, washing that I didn't have time to do. And of course, there were no plants anymore because I had no energy left, even just to lift the water can to water them. So next slide. And actually, in my case, my doctor put me out of work for 1 year, and then I restarted slowly, 20%, 50%, 80%. I am now working 100%, but I am still not fully 100% recovered to what I was doing before. So burnout is difficult to recognize. How do we recognize burnout? It's difficult to recognize because it usually affects deep, caring, and very energetic people. And you wouldn't think that these people crack down, and sometimes they are regarded as resources, and meaning that they have less time for themselves also to take a break or get away. And this is why it's difficult to recognize. And there's also an asynchronous recognizing of the situation between the outside community and the person. Some people might recognize before, and the person might not recognize it, or she might be aware and not able to communicate it. So I've put down a little link to assess your burnout risk that you can take later or now if you are bored by what I am saying. And if you haven't done so, I really recommend you look at Jessica Rose on burnout. She burnt out and she came on stage saying really funny things about her brain and how a brain can be momentarily out of function, but it doesn't mean that it will not come back, and all the steps she took. And it's really, really funny, especially if you're in a case of burnout, because it gives a lot of hope. Next slide. There are signs that you can recognize. So first, let's look at the internal signs. From one's perspective and inner feelings. So first of all, there's a stage of activity, and burnout can be cut into several stages. These stages can intermix, one can come before. It's just to get a sense of the general timeline. And this is not, this is usually what academics say. So I just copied and pasted actually the VMF harassment course where we tackled that, because burnout, harassment, depression are all in a way linked. There are aspects of one that affect another. A case of harassment might lead to burnout or be the trigger to a burnout situation, and vice versa. So first we start by hyperactivity. We have a very engaged and passionate person involved in many projects and sometimes not setting clear limits about what they can do or not. And they usually feel morally responsible, want to please people, and start getting a feeling of stress and loss of control, but it's not identified. And usually shortcomings, when there's too many things to do, are compensated with more time in engagement, which leads to being more tired. The second stage would be a stage of irritability. And now this is important because this is where I, for example, think, oop, be careful, you're being grumpy, although you are not usually. So maybe it's time to go back to your room and read a book, or pat your cats, or go out for a walk in the woods. So you start making increased distractions, small mistakes, feeling a lack of empathy, like someone is talking about their problem and you start thinking in your head, oh, but I have, oh, gee, if I told you my problems, I mean, yours are just so small compared to what I have. So it's a kind of retracting to yourself, centering around yourself. And sometimes to gain time, people start being blunt, to cut corners because they feel overwhelmed. So they want to do the things quickly. And sometimes the way out of it is to answer quickly and get out of the room, not paying attention to emotion because it takes time to tackle feelings. And lacking a general overview of the situation, people can start having personality changes, mood swings, like being really irritating or exploding when they usually are very calm. They can be over-argumentative. This you might have seen on Wikipedia, where people get really hype about an argument, and you have some people who can simply not get away from the argument. They can't take a step back. They are so deeply emotionally engaged. And if you have several of these signs, it can build to burnout, but not only burnout. And generally, feeling frustrated about a lack of control over environment. It can be professional environment, it can be family environment, or general environment. Like you have the feeling you do not have the remote controller to change the situation that are causing stressful situation. And with small mistakes emerges a feel of guilt over underachievement. Although from the outside, it may not, performance may not be affected so at that point. The third stage, where it starts getting serious, is that the body and the mind retracts. And so people start feeling very, very tired, continuously tired, even if they sleep well, they are still tired in the morning when getting up. There can be sleep problems pattern, like sleeping too much, not sleeping enough, or sleeping irregularly. The immune system, there are physical things that can emerge. It's not automatic, but you can start feeling sick, having colds, or feeling tension in your muscles. I myself had a blocked shoulder for 1 year, like I was going around like that, and I couldn't carry a bag on my shoulder. And this was linked to stress. And then you feel numbed, emotional detachment from your family, your friends, not being able to get into conversation, not interested in the conversation, and also acknowledging that for yourself. And at this point, sometimes people have coping mechanism like substance abuse, cigarette, alcohol, drugs. In my case, it was cigarettes, and I still haven't stopped. I will do that when I'm ready. There can be also increase in the risk of experimenting violent thoughts toward oneself and depression at that stage. So burnout is not does not automatically lead to depression, but it can be linked. And then we have the zombie stage, where this time there's a total loss of confidence, feeling that you are just piloting a vehicle that is not yourself, accumulating errors and also not maybe paying too much attention to it, feeling completely disconnected, empty, like if you had taken an anesthetist. And the negative consequences that could emerge in the third stage can get worse, like dark thoughts, self-harm, substance abuse, even suicidal thoughts, which was my case. And that's where I quickly ran to the doctor because I had never experienced that. And it's not because you have these thoughts that you want to do it, but it's very disturbing. If you've never had them and you start having them, it's so completely disturbing, and it's usually something we don't speak about and we don't want to speak about. But anyway, this condition can last for months, especially if it's not cared for. It doesn't get better just like that. The thing to do is to take a rest virtually from everything and take care of oneself, but it's not, people usually think, okay, take a rest 1 month, 1 year, 1 week, but no, it takes a long time. And that can be hard psychologically because it's very frustrating. Next slide. So to picture that, I take an example of drawings that I did during my burnout. And first of all, well, it was a very messy room. Did a picture of my cat there sitting in the middle of the junk and saying, well, looking at me with tender eyes and saying, don't worry, I still like this place. Feeling of confusion, I started drawing things about Wikipedia, private life, public life, work, feeling overwhelmed and confused and not knowing where to turn. Feelings of low esteem, like, as I wrote in the drawing, I was bold, I go back to black, and I was listening to Amy Winehouse Back to Black, like in loop, until I thought that maybe I should stop listening to Amy Winehouse. But anyway, I drew this while listening to Amy Winehouse, and I felt old and I felt cold. And it took about 6 months to my doctor to persuade me that my brain not functioning normally, according to my standards, was not because I was getting old or Alzheimer or hyperactive, but it's because I was tired and I needed to rest. But I didn't believe her at first. And then I started feeling depressed, but it was also a terrible family time. My mom died of cancer. Some people in my close entourage got depression and were hospitalized. So that's where I started feeling really emotionally overwhelmed and started drawings about depression. The 3 last drawings are about depression. And the last drawing was when my mom died and I felt completely overwhelmed. But I felt overwhelmed and it was difficult to talk because I felt no emotion at all. I felt damaged and bad and had black thoughts, but the feelings towards her were completely numbed, which I thought was really, really, really strange. Next slide. What do you see from the outside? And you don't see the same thing at the same time. The first stage, you still see a very energetic and caring person taking responsibilities, sometimes doubting what they have achieved a bit, but you don't see that they are starting to feel frustrated and stressed out by the situation. In the second stage, the community and the people might feel frustrated because the person is not listening, paying attention to what is important for them, because the person is taking emotional distance, because she's tackling her own problem. So some people might feel frustrated and even upset at that stage and start issuing criticism or saying things like, it's not normal. This person is not usually like that. I mean, last year she was this and that, and now she's being really grumpy, or, you know, that kind of thing. The third stage, you feel that the person is stressed, there's procrastination, uneven performance, low self-esteem, and taking responsibilities instead of stepping down. And you might hear people criticizing and yourself criticizing, judging, and not being aware at all that it is a case of burnout. And in the fourth stage, the person looks confused, maybe not taking care of her appearance, not meeting deadlines, not listening, has communication issue, might have addictive and erratic behavior in your eyes, erratic behavior, like going out of the room, coming back, or talking about things that have nothing to do with the subject, ignoring others, like you have the feeling you can't reach out to the person anymore. And then the person disappears. She disappears either because she's on medical leave or because she's exhausted and take a holiday, and you might not even know at that stage that it's a burnout. So what can we do? Next slide. How much time do I have left now? About 10 minutes? Yeah.
Yes,
So
just
what can we do? First of all, to help others, to help oneself, to recover, and to tackle that in our communities. Well, first of all, to recognize the sign is already a big deal. Like somebody, maybe now you had an idea of thinking, oh yeah, during the pandemic, I thought this person started reacting that way, and I wasn't aware that maybe, you know, this person was being overwhelmed. But that's the point of having these conversations in our communities. And next slide. So I've shared a bit of do's and don'ts, and actually it has nothing to do specifically with burnout. The things, it's very general, which is why I shared the Good Friend Guide from Chain, which has to do with people experiencing domestic abuse, but it's exactly the same. You're talking to a person who is overwhelmed, either by depression or abuse or burnout. And there are things that you can say that help, and things that you can say that don't. And this is not this is not fixed, and it depends on the situation, on the persons who are talking, obviously. But it's a very general pattern. First of all, the first thing, if a person talks to you about their burnout or feeling overwhelmed and tired, don't minimize. Sometimes we minimize because we feel stressed about the situation. So we tend to project our stress on the other, and we want to find a solution. There's a little voice. So we want to console, and we say, oh, it could be worse, or it's not as bad as it seems. It will get better. Get over it. Some people tend to say things like, if you say like something like, I'm having a divorce, some people might answer, oh, at least you have a marriage, you know, because they never got married. But that's a part about imposing your emotion on others. And if others are okay to hear, it's okay. But if it's a person who is depressed, stressed out, overwhelmed, or has just come out of an abusive situation, this does not help, because you're putting your responsibility on their shoulders when you were initially, I suppose, willing to help and help lift the burden. So being over positive also is not good. Like some people, they are in denial and they think, okay, she's being very, very negative all the time. We have to, you know, pop the volume and speak about positive things. So they start speaking about their nice holidays and that they're going to eat something nice for their partner, but the person might not be at all in the mood, able to receive that, especially if they have no friends, have not been in holidays for 4 years, or are in a disastrous situation. So you have to be careful about that. Judge things like this person is lazy, not performing. We need performance in this movement, so we cannot deal with people having problems. We already have problems to deal with. No, that is very hard and judging, like deciding one is not fit for this and not fit for that because of a burnout phase, when the burnout phase is only a temporary thing that can be long, but it's temporary. So issuing diagnosis saying, I think you have a burnout, or I think you are hyperactive. That one I had a very good friend issue a hyperactivity disorder, self-imposed diagnosis on me. And I crashed down, and my therapist had to make me do a hyperactive test in hospital so that I could be convinced I was not hyperactive. And it took a long time for me to not doubt that. And it was very hurtful having a friend that I really liked issue such a statement. So don't issue a statement or judge. It can really hurt. Keep that for you, and tiptoe towards, if it's a hard case, it would be nice that you go and see a doctor, because it's hard to get out of this on your own. So offer a solution. Some people feel so stressed when their friends are feeling bad that they want a solution, and they start piling up and cherry picking a whole picture of solutions. Or you could go to the doctor, you could take a holiday, you could read a book, they start issuing counseling advice, but sometimes it has not been asked for. And so this is intrusive. So do not offer solutions unless the person has asked you to. Or if you feel it's really important to share your own experience, maybe you could ask before, and be careful not to take too much time from listening. So this has to do with float your perspective. Like, for example, many of you might have heard, somebody is having a baby, and then all the people around them start saying, when I gave birth, when my wife was pregnant, and they start talking about their perspective. Now that can overfloat a person who is not well. She might feel even more undervalued because you're taking the lead in speaking about you, when this person needs you to think about her. All in this process, all this has to do with your own emotions that you are projecting on the person. So if you are feeling stressed or not able to talk, the best thing is to do nothing and to say that you are not able to, and to constantly be aware of yourself. So why do you need to get involved in this? What emotions does it trigger for you? Do you need support yourself if the situations are really bad? And what is your limit of your involvement? So we are switching to what you can say, but this is a kind of transition. The first thing is to be kind. Now, if you know the person well, it's probably more easy. Also, you can ask closed and simple questions instead of asking, how do you do? Which is a very general coffee talk question. If you ask that in front of a lot of people, a person who is really feeling bad might not want to answer, because they might not want to impose negative feelings, or they might be afraid to be seen as negative. Or if she does, it might just have all the people think that this person is negative and toxic. So just say things very short term, like, how do you feel this morning? Like today, now. So that the person is not obliged to reflect that for 1 year she's been having a burnout and she's still feeling depressed about it 1 year later. So how do you feel today? If you don't know what to say, just say, I don't know what to say. And the best thing you can say is, I am here. If you have to go away for a nice dinner with your partner or a holiday, you might not want to say that straight away like that, but you might want to set limits. Okay, I have 1 hour for you now if you want. Or, okay, I cannot go on holiday for you for 2 weeks, but we can spend the weekend together next week. So because the person is so blurred, fixing the context is helpful for her. Listen. If you are not familiar with nonviolent communication, that's the time to get a quick dig into it. Or if you, and to practice active listening, which is about when you listen to someone, be 80% with the person and the 20% rest on analyzing your own physical, emotional reaction. And also reformulating what the person has just said, to make sure you have understood properly. And sometimes that's what people need the most, just having someone who will listen and not question their perspective or what they are feeling. You can give hope in a second stage, I'd say, And that's the place where you can share about your own experience, not overwhelming. If you have recovered, like, you know, I went through that too, but not to elaborate too much, just to say that you understand what the person is saying. If you don't understand, you say, I have never been through a burnout, but I'm really, really willing to try to understand and to help you in this. And that's it. That's basically the takeaway message. And I think we can try to elaborate on that when we do the next, the activity part. Next slide.
Thank you. We have just 2 more minutes.
Okay.
I'm sure we can bring some things into the discussion too.
Yeah. So you can practice in your community, build metrics, apologize when you have done something bad, either because you were burnt out or feeling guilty, and share about that in a presentation or a learning pattern in your community and discuss among you what to do in such cases and document. Next slide. And the last thing I wanted to say is, to be better, you need help. Sometimes it's difficult to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist even, but sometimes it's the closest path to recovery, because they are professional and they can help you go through this quicker. Of course, not everybody has access to medical care, or that's for sure. But if you have access to medical care, having the help of a professional is good, but you have to find a good one for you too. And sometimes it takes time. For me, it took 6 months before I found, no, it took, 6 months before I found someone who I felt well with. And the first thing she did was send me 3 weeks in the mountains just to sleep. So help to reduce workload, help to reduce mental charge, and medical help if you can. A burnout, recovering from a burnout takes a long time, and it starts with you. It's not about others, actually. It starts with us. So then you have to recharge, to do less, to get a break, do something you like, reduce identified stress factors, so that you can do with the help of professionals too very well. Start taking lists of everything that gets you stressed and try avoiding these. Forgive yourself. That is the most important thing. Forgive. We are all humans. We fail. Sometimes we fail lamentably, but we learn from our failures so much. And this is hope, because we learn. And when we learn not to do it again. And we also recognize it in others, and we are more helpful in our communities. So for us, it's really important that the people come back to us in the movement afterwards, that they do not leave definitely. Try not to hurt other people, because you definitely will in a burnout situation, and you will need allies when you feel better to have a few friends left to go out, either for a beer or a walk in the woods. Prioritize. Start taking a sheet and writing what is the most important. Eat, sleep, whatever is important for you. You might be wanting to do something completely weird. I spent 2,000 hours playing Nintendo, and then it was good for me in the first place. And my children were like, what is she doing? I mean, she's playing Nintendo the whole time. I knew I didn't need it when once the Nintendo just fell into the bath, and I didn't feel sorry. I felt relieved. So I just dumped it in the dustbin, and that was it. That was finished. But I needed this phase. It was a way for me to switch to something else from depression, start having the brain turn around in a circle. And be patient. And it's worth the travel, because you will learn so much about you and others. And I want to share now my picture. My end picture, and the good friend guide we'll see afterwards. These are all the things I did to feel better. I didn't put Wikipedia in there, but 2021 was the year where I contributed the most, and it was really positive for me. My doctor doubted it, my friends doubted it, but I know I like contributing. I love it, and I needed it because it switched my brain off from problems. And I cooked a lot. when I had enough money, I went to the restaurant alone and had a nice treat, me, from me, to me, by me, that's all. No need of anybody else, start by yourself. And I ate all that everywhere. So these are pictures. I cuddled my cats a lot and they were really, really nice. They were sticking on my shoulders everywhere all the time, you know. It was a kind of surveillance team, there were 4. And then I did kayak with friends. So the picture in the middle is me doing kayak with Florence Anter after the 100 Page Convention. When I was in the mountains, spent 3 weeks in the clinic to get some rest, I started drawing. I finished drawing because I was doing very sad drawings. And these were my final drawings about cats and mandalas. I drew a lot of mandalas and then I stopped altogether and now I don't need it anymore. I did cycling when I felt better. The first phase, I could not. I mean, I had no muscles left for going from my bed to the couch with my Nintendo. So I had no muscles left, virtually. I had to take up first 10 minutes walk, 15 minutes walk. It had to be recovery. I did a crazy thing, got my hair colored all in purple. I had been dreaming of it since I was a teenager. Finally, I decided it was too much trouble for me because your hair gets all dry and then you have to go to the hairdresser every month. And it was stressful, so I abandoned it, but I might do it again in the summer. I went to the seaside and swam. I went to the woods. I went in calm places to listen to music and audiobooks, feminist science fiction. And once during a kayak trip with a friend, we had a nice bottle of champagne and we had champagne on the kayak. Well, during our picnic. That was really funny. So yeah, and also I read a lot. So these are all the books. I ordered books. It was pandemic and all the libraries were closed, but I found a small shop in England called Queer Lit, and they send their books in beautiful packages, colorful, and that's what I did. So next slide, and then I'm finished. A bit more than 2 minutes, sorry. What I want to say to finish is that we don't have resources from what I know to address burnout, harassment, or even depression in our movement. And maybe we could start by writing a good guide, a good friend guide, like we have like Chain. I shared Chain with you. What I would like to see, it's hope, is a good guide friend for every stressful situation where somebody is not well, including burnout, and that we would write for the Wikimedia movement. And so I would really like to know about your experiences and your stories, and the scene is to you now. I think we can share the resources. The next are resources, so you can read that later. And I'm finished. Phew, I was stressed before, but now it's okay.
Thanks, Natasha. We're seeing a lot of love in the room for your sharing. It's lovely hearing all of the personal stories and your journey through burnout. So I'm sure several of you have questions and thoughts, and we will have time for that towards the end of the session. But for now, we were thinking that we could just dive right in to some interactivity. So we're actually going to be now looking at a burnout case. And I'm going to paste the link here. See, here it is. And maybe Jessica, if you can open it up. You'll find the link in the chat. Yes. Perfect. So we have drafted a burnout case. It's a fictitious case. It's not real. Drafted by our lovely Natasha here. And what we're inviting you to do now is to take the next 5-10 minutes to read over this little comic. And also, once you're done, come into the Jamboard again, and we'll link the Jamboard one more time. Let me do that. Here it is. And go to the second page where you'll answer the question, what would you do if you were Sasha? So we'll spend the next 5 to 10 minutes doing that silently, and we'll do a little bit of a debrief afterwards. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
Or you can scroll down because it's in many languages. The comic.
Yeah, just in case anybody missed that, if you go to the presentation, you have the languages here. So each language is in the same presentation. You can just scroll down. And when you write on the Jamboard, you can write in any language that you prefer. We will be doing translation of your messages. If you can't write on the Jamboard, then you can share your thoughts in the chat in any language, and we will support also putting that on the board.
All right. So I know some of you are still in the process of writing and you can finish your thoughts, but I thought I would invite Natacha here to take a little read through of what has appeared on the board and host a little reflection with us. Take it away.
Let me put my mic. So shall I start now, or people are still writing? They can still continue to write, or yes, it's interesting what appears first, trying to explain the situation about the burnout situation, and the idea about contacting a third party who is included in the project, like not carrying the burden alone. This has to do with communicating to others, and also that has to do with sharing the medical diagnosis with Alice and Aid, and also contact her doctor to overcome the post-medical post-intervention issues. That has to do with setting limits to what she can do too. She cannot do everything because she's in a burnout situation and might feel blurred. So there are some things that look obvious, but that maybe she would not be able to do. And the part about apologizing is quite great too, because if we do fail somewhere, we are humans, we can fail. Yes, it takes, it's no big deal to apologize for being late or underperforming, so that people understand that you are aware of the situation that causes them frustration. The thing is about, that's the same thing with accepting own flaw, is part of rebuilding relationship. One must be able to forgive oneself first. A time for self-reflection can be a big help for Alice. I think that's really important, that maybe she cannot solve the solution with Aid and Alice until she has reflected on what is happening to her, and that might mean taking a pause. Re-establish better communication. That's definitely about communication too. Sharing her emotions, like we tend to try to be professional and not speak about emotions, but emotions are and feelings are real things. They affect people receiving them and emitting them. So it's always a nice thing to share feelings, like Jessica did at the beginning, this thing about shaking the hands. I really loved that. I would take them through the burnout session so that they could identify themselves, to thus seek medical counseling if possible. It's true that if you attend a session about burnout, it's easier for you, whether you are experiencing burnout or just seeing it happen around you, that being aware of these things is already a huge step forward. Yeah, I think I have done everything. And there was a part about the red, like meeting Alice after 1 month break and explaining that she went through burnout, and set my expectation with them. Yes, so it's important to set your expectations. This was a story about expectation. Alice and Aid wanted something, and Sasha had other expectation. So maybe clarifying the meeting at the beginning to set expectation can help. Yeah, so these are very interesting take-in. Yeah, but of course, no, when you use the word should, should, you have to be careful about the should thing. And also, what about Aid and Alice? What could they do? Because Sasha is the sick one. She's the one who is having the most trouble at the moment. So she might be the one that we should relieve of having to do something at the moment. right, these were the things that the reflection that I have on what was written. Thank you all for sharing.
Thank you very much, Natasha. And so now we want to go and do an actual practice of this. So we're going to go into pairs, and we are going to play the role of Sasha and play the role of a friend that or a colleague that she calls. But first, before doing that, Natasha and I are going to do a little demonstration of this, and then Beverly will explain the exercise again before we go into the breakout rooms. So Beverly, if I can ask you just to take the time for us, we're going to do 3 minutes of each role, and we will be showing our best abilities in acting skills and hoping that the interpreters will be able to act us in different languages. So Natasha is going to be Sasha, and she's calling me. And this first example, I am going to try to be not a great listener, so quite a bad listener. Go ahead.
Hi. Oh, do we go? Or?
Yes.
Yes, I was just giving the time start.
Okay.
Hello, it's Sasha.
Oh, Sasha,
okay,
hi, how are you? Like, I haven't seen you in ages. How has your life been?
Not so, actually. I went back to work today. It was really, really difficult. And I wondered if I could speak to you, because I'm really feeling so bad at the moment.
Like, Sasha, it's been a month since you were away. Like, I'm sure it's just a bad day at work. Like, really, I wouldn't take it to, like, tell me what happened, but I'm sure, it'll be fine.
Well, I went back to work and I went to speak to Aid and Alice. And Aid won't speak to me anymore. I mean, he was there in the whole room.
Sorry, Sasha, I just need to just reply to a quick message here. I'm sorry. Somebody's chatting with me. They actually sent me something a bit funny. Hold on. I'm really sorry. Okay, keep going. It's just I needed to do that.
Yeah, you sure this is a good time for you? I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Keep going. So Ade, what?
My problems on you all the time. It's yeah. So Aid doesn't speak to me anymore, and Alice is more listening. But I mean, she's still angry. She said to me, the whole project went down because of you, of your incapability of setting priorities. And Aid is just sitting in front of me the whole time.
I know.
And I mean, what's the problem? I only asked for a date. No, I exploded on that day, but the date was important for me.
Yeah, no, I get that, Sasha, but I'll tell you something that happened to me. And fortunately, I was able to save the project. And I came in and I told them how I was feeling, and, we just talking about it. It's just communication. So I'm sure, like, I know the project, like, maybe can't be recovered, but just talk to them. It worked for me.
No, the project is dead. It's dead. It's been dead before I went. That won't. The project is dead. I couldn't do that.
Listen, I have to go because I have like a meeting to go to. But like maybe I can call you just a bit later and we can chat.
No, that's okay. I don't feel like you're being very receptive. I just needed you to listen, to be able to talk. I'm going to call my doctor again and see if I can miss work tomorrow. Set my own limits.
So I see some people in the chat commenting about how frustrated they feel, and you're actually going to go into groups and practices. So we're going to come back and talk a little bit about how you felt as Sasha, how you felt as the friend. Maybe we'll identify things that we do a little bit. And now we're going to try to play the role of a better listener and see how that works out.
Hi, it's Natasha again, not feeling well. Do you think you have a bit of time for me?
Sure, Natasha, it's lovely to hear your voice. How was your morning?
Awful, disastrous. I really feel like tense in my stomach, and I can't go back tomorrow. I mean, Aid doesn't speak to me anymore, and Alice is still very angry.
Can you tell me a bit more about how you were feeling and what happened?
I felt tense and I wanted to speak with them to clarify, and probably I was too pushy again, wanting to find a solution. But Adis has been sitting in front of me, not speaking. And because I insisted, he said, okay, he's going to stay there where he is. And if I can avoid him and not speak to him. I felt so bad. And I mean, I really liked my colleagues and it can't go back to where it was before.
So if I understand what you're saying, Sasha, is that you felt perhaps sad and frustrated because Ade wasn't even talking to you and you really wanted to be able to engage with them so they understood where you were coming from. Is that what you were feeling, perhaps?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to explain what a burnout was. And then my boss came out of the room and said, okay, private talk, stay at home, you will go back to work. And I felt, what kind of a management is that? And
that made you feel frustrated?
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to do today? I remember in the last month, like you really enjoyed kayaking and just being by the sea. Do you maybe want to go and do that and we can just take some time to breathe?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was thinking about asking you and not daring, and yeah, maybe I know you are working, but if I can have a sort of safe space this weekend to go kayaking, I would love that. That would be helpful.
This weekend is better, and I want to share some things that I've been feeling too, so that will be helpful for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being such a good friend.
Amazing.
Lots of applause.
Yes, we had so many comments about the amazing acting that we're seeing. Yes.
Okay, so now over to you, and I'll just share the instructions on my screen.
Exactly. So the instructions are in the Jamboard. I'm going to share it again, but as Jessica just mentioned, it's now your turn to get into your acting mode. So the way this is going to work is actually exactly what you saw. You will be in pairs. One person playing the role of Sasha, or if you want, you can actually share your own story if you find that to be more helpful. And the other person will be a trusted Wiki friend. So you'll be these two people, and there will be 2 rounds. You'll have one round, which is the poor listener round. So both of you will take a turn doing this. You'll spend 3 minutes, one person listening, one person acting as Sasha. And then after the 3 minutes are up, you switch and you do it one more time with the other person. And then you'll go into round 2, which is the good listener round. So you'll have, again, Sasha and the friend doing the exercise. And in total, you'll have switched 4 times. And yeah, that's the exercise. One thing to remember here is to keep your own time. We'll be announcing through a little broadcast, reminding you when to switch rounds, but we'll ask the listener in whichever round you're in to just keep your time, keep a time. You can keep it on your phone or whatever, set 3 minutes. And then when the time is up, you can do some sign or stop the person. keep in mind, I think it might be helpful to think back to Natacha's great presentation, to some of the tactics, yes, to some of the tactics that she shared around listening do's and don'ts. And also perhaps might be helpful to think back to your own experiences around supporting friends and maybe mistakes that you've made. This might be a good opportunity for you to replay them and reflect on them. Before we go into breakout rooms, if there is anyone here who doesn't want to go for whatever reason, maybe you're in the car or what have you, feel free to send a message to Jessica directly on Zoom, so she knows not to put you in a pair. But otherwise, are there any questions before we go into the exercise?
Okay, so I'm just waiting 1 minute to see if anybody wants to inform me so I can rearrange the groups. It's okay if you're on your phone, that's fine. You don't also have to, it's nice to put your camera if you can, but if you can't, that's fine too. And let me just. Okay, so I'm opening up the rooms. There's just one room with one person, but I'll assign somebody to that room in 1 second. As you go into the room, we're just going to take 2 minutes to settle, so everybody can read the instructions, understand who is going to be Sasha and who is going to be the friend, and whilst we just make sure everybody's in the room. So we're just going to take 2 minutes. You can introduce yourselves, get to know each other. I will let you know via message. There's a broadcast message. I will let you know in text and with my voice when you can start. Okay, so I'm opening all rooms now. So we need one person from here to volunteer to go into a room because we were left. So since we're not recording this, I don't know if one of you would like to go. Natasha or Cassie or Beverly.
Whatever feels the best.
I'll assign you then, Natasha, so you can share with somebody. Room 4, okay. Oh, we also have one room. I'm going to assign you, Beverly. Is that okay with Justice?
We have some people still here. Is that right?
Just the interpreters, I think. Oh.
We have a few
Been
people
assigned, but they haven't joined. I don't know why. Ismail, maybe you need, there's a notification to go to the room.
Okay, actually, I received.
Sorry? I'm going to move you to another room to see if we can try that again. Nat, I'm going to send you to room 7, Beverly, if that's okay. Vanya and Chiquendo, I'm going to try to put you both in a room. Ismail, I don't know why it's not joining. I've been trying to send you to the room. You might need to check on your phone if it says in the bottom where you have the 3 dots, it says join breakout room. Can you see that? Oh, okay, you can now start your conversation. Vanya, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, you might have to see in, I've been trying to assign you to a room, but it seems like you might need to accept. So I'm going to try to send you to another room, and it might pop up in the bottom of your screen and where the 3 dots are in Zoom, where it says join breakout room. Okay, so I'm going to try to send you to another room now. And if you can try to go there. And the same to Chinwendo, I'm going to send you to the same room as Vanya, okay? You have to see Chinwendo, you're going to have to see Francesc. Anas. I'm going to send you to, oh no, it's okay. I don't have to send you anywhere. No worries. I was going to have to send you somewhere. Hi, is there anybody here who can help me with the timekeeping?
I can help.
Oh, who's there?
Cassie.
Oh, sorry, I can't see you on my screen. Hey, Cassie, thanks. So I think it's been 3 minutes since they started, right? I'm just gonna tell them to now switch. And then if you can calculate the 3 minutes from when I tell them.
Okay. Okay, I set my timer.
Thanks. Sorry, I can't see your name, but who's joined from Wiki Wake Up Africa? Hi. So We're just in breakout rooms at the moment. That's why nobody else is in the call. Ah, René, bonjour. So there's interpretation in case you need it. Anas is
Ouais, bonjour, bonjour.
bonjour, bonjour. We're just in
Ah, ok, bonjour Jessica, bonjour tout le monde. Désolé pour le retard, j'étais encore au travail.
That's okay. We're just doing an exercise now, and when they come back, you can join the group. So if you just wait while people finish the exercise, they're in breakout rooms.
Ouais, d'accord, merci. À tout à l'heure.
Is that 3 minutes yet, Cassie?
No, we have. It's literally only been a minute.
Oh, wow. Okay. Clearly my time management is weird.
Oh, sorry. We have like, look at the wrong time. We have like a minute and no, okay, a minute left. Okay, you can let them know that they can switch or come back.
Okay, it's now time to switch roles. So now the other person plays Sasha, and you have 3 minutes starting from now to do the impression of a bad listener. I don't even know how that broadcast sounds. I might sound like Big Brother or something. I do hope they're able to chat. I'm worried. Yes. Hello.
Hi, Jessica.
Yes.
Please, we can't understand our language. She speaks Spanish, I speak English. No. Yes.
Hi. I'm sorry for that. Okay. I am going to ask Francesc to come in here and help you with the translation, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right.